This is Big Podcast.
I'm not a video guy, but sometimes video or photographs, they add things. So if you want to see where I record, instead of me talking about the 5x8 tricked out closet, known as the Red Room, you can look me up on Instagram, Big Podcast 1. I'm going to talk a little bit about video versus audio on this podcast. This is Build a Big Podcast, the podcast for podcasters, the marketing podcast for podcasters. I talk about growing your audience, getting more people to you, making more people care about you, getting companies or people or both to give you money for what you're doing, how to spread a message, how to make impact, and most importantly, how to make your mother proud. Maybe how to make yourself proud. Let's make it about you. BigPodcast.com, that's the website. This is the audio edition of my weekly newsletter. Big Podcast Insider is its name. You can find it, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 224. Everything I'm talking about, if you want more information, you want the links, maybe some photos, maybe video, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. Here's what we're going to cover. Gen Z wants audio. This failed blogger now makes $8,000 monthly from 700 newsletter subscribers. Persuade like a lawyer. Steal this YouTube trick to get more listeners in 2 minutes. Low-cost email campaigns and landing pages. You should start a podcast. Or should you? We'll talk all about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things. All of them about growing your podcast, getting more people to do shows, the things I already talked about. Watch this segue. This episode of Build a Big Podcast brought to you by Riverside.fm. It's a virtual studio that makes recording and editing at the highest quality possible accessible to anyone. You can be in Los Angeles. Your co-host can be in Nashville. Your guest, New York City. Each of you will look and sound your best because Riverside records you and your guests and your co-hosts locally, bypassing poor or unstable internet connections and giving you studio quality audio and video. We're talking 4K resolution. I'm an audio guy, but when it comes to audio, Riverside takes care of us as well. You'll also get what they call magic clips. They're going to take your long form audio or video, chop it up into little bitty snackable social media post. It's going to make you look great on social media. You'll be able to bring people over to your podcast. You want to find out more? Get a free account, Riverside.fm. They're going to give you a couple of hours. Take a look, interview somebody, do a podcast with a co-host, whatever you do. Riverside is ready for you. You're going to be able to try that out for free for a couple of hours. If you want to stick around, let me give you a discount code. Big Podcast, BIGPODCAST. Get your free account. It's Riverside.fm. And to get that discount, 15% off for life. Big Podcast, that's the code. BIGPODCAST. You know I do that live, right? That's why I mentioned that was a segue. Yeah, I put the music in later. I'm not that good. Do I edit out the bad parts? Yes, I do. I edit out about 40% of everything that I say. I dated a woman once. She wished I could do that. She's one of these types that thought before she had said something. And when she did say something, I'll give her credit. It was really great. But how much was she not saying? Sometimes you just got to say it, edit out in the mix. That's what I do on this podcast, giving you only the best when it comes to growing your podcast, getting more people to your podcast, making people care about your podcast, and making money with your podcast. I'm going to go from thing to thing to thing, each of them about the things that I just mentioned. And because it can get confusing, you're going to hear this sound. That's how you know I've gone to the next thing. That's how you know. If you want more information about what I'm talking about, you want to see the pictures, the videos, get the links, go to newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 224. You ready? Gen Z wants audio. All you curmudgeonly podcasters who love talking about old school RSS, and back when I started, we had to code our own RSS feeds. Yeah, you did. Thanks for recording that podcast uphill both ways. Gen Z, we can talk bad about them. Yeah, it's easy to do a podcast. Yeah, probably everybody and his brother has a podcast these days. Doesn't make you feel as special as it used to back in the day. However, they want audio. So let's throw Gen Z a bone. If you're an audio-first podcaster, I've got some stats linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue 224. They will excite you. Let me give you some of them. Spotify is the top choice for Gen Z podcast listeners, with 56% favoring the platform. That blows my mind. Not as much as it used to. I remember the first guy who told me he listened to podcasts via Spotify. This is probably, 2018, 2019. Older dude. Older than me. Dude's probably 60-something. I was wearing a Big Podcast t-shirt because I represent myself. He said, "That's your company?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you listen to podcasts?" He said, "Yeah." I said, how do you listen? He said, Spotify. Couldn't believe it. I don't care how people listen. What I care about, people do listen. Spotify, don't sleep on it. A lot of people there, 56% of Gen Z podcast listeners, they favor that platform. A majority of Gen Z, this is 76%, they prefer audio-only podcast formats. So all these people saying YouTube is great, those are usually the people who are on YouTube or the people that are working for YouTube. They've got an agenda saying, you got to be on YouTube. You got to be on YouTube. Podcast is no discovery. You got to be on YouTube. Get the algorithm. Yeah, it's great if you can get it. But when it comes to Gen Z, 76%, they prefer audio podcast formats. You know why? Because Gen Z is out doing stuff. Not like old guys. Not like these dudes who sit around in their mom's basement watching YouTube videos all day. For the people who are actually out living, audio-only podcasts are the way to go. And for Gen Z, they're out there living. Audio-only is preferred by 76% of them. 59% of Gen Z listens to podcasts at home, primarily on mobile devices. How do you listen to podcasts? I listen on mobile device, even at home. This is something for the old school podcasters. Back in the day, and look, I'm one of them, okay? Been doing it since 2005. If we wanted something on a mobile device, and it wasn't just an iPod, it could have been some kind of MP3 player. You downloaded it to your computer, to your desktop, via a cable transferred to your mobile device. I had a player, it would hold 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And that was it. But we thought it was incredible. I mean, that's like one side of a cassette. It got us there. Gen Z is still doing it via mobile, even at home. Obviously, when they're out, because they're not too far away from their mobile devices ever. And 59% of Gen Z listens to podcasts at home. Fiction podcasts have gained unexpected popularity among this group. There was a time when people had audiobooks. I guess there was audio fiction. It's always been around. The old guys, older than the old school podcasters, radio dramas. Man, my dad, he loves old school radio. Sirius had a channel. Loves it. Man, you listen to old time radio? Yeah, I've heard it. And it is pretty interesting. As a podcaster, if you want to get into effects, how people use voices, vocal variety, selling something, live reading, because they'll have commercials sometimes. That's really interesting. If you want to learn about the history of audio, certainly check out old time radio. There's a lot of it out there. But it's coming around again. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Gen Z's loving it. If you're doing a fiction podcast, you've got an opportunity. I've got the full findings linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 224. That is where you'll find the link. I want you to keep this information handy the next time somebody says, you need to be on YouTube. There's no discovery in podcasting. You need to work the algorithm. Just be like, yeah, Grandpa. Sit down. YouTube's great, but don't let it throw you off your audio first content. I want to talk real quick about Big Podcast AMP. If you like this podcast, if you like the newsletter that I do, you're going to love Big Podcast AMP, the audio monetization program. It is a personal coaching program that will help you do three things. 1, grow your podcast audience. 2, get people talking about your podcast. 3, make more money with your podcast and your podcasting skills. There's a lot of opportunity right now for people with podcasting skills, and I can help you take advantage of that. You can find more details at bigpodcast.com/amp. That's bigpodcast.com/AMP. This failed blogger now makes $8,000 monthly from 700 newsletter subscribers. All right. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com. That's the link. Go to issue number 224. I've got this thing linked. I want you to go to this link and I want you to get back to me and tell me if you think this is a fake article or not. It's pretty interesting because there's no links to what this person is doing. There's no name of the blog. There's no full name of the blogger. She's only got a first name there. And the math doesn't add up. Still, I'm mentioning this to you here because there are actually some pretty good ways to grow a newsletter that would also work for your podcast. My guess about this is that somebody went to ChatGPT. They said, give me an article about growing a blog, newsletter, whatever. Tell me a story of a blogger. Who knows? ChatGPT can make it up. And sometimes there's some good stuff in there. There's something here called the receipt method. And what this blogger, maybe a fake blogger, did, she's got an eco-friendly newsletter. Keep that in mind. And she partnered with local eco-conscious stores to include her newsletter cards in customers' shopping bags. It resonated with shoppers who were already interested in sustainable products. Subscribe to this newsletter by going here. They did. What could the newsletter do? Bring people back to the store. In the direct marketing business, this is known as a ride-along. You sometimes see them in the mail, maybe something through Amazon even. There'll be a ride-along in there. Hey, check this movie out. Hey, subscribe to this magazine. You've gotten these if you've ordered anything via mail. They used to do them in magazines. Calvin Klein's got a new fragrance. You send it in Cosmopolitan for the ladies. You send it in GQ for the men. Again, it's known as a ride-along. It works. I've done so many of these things over the years, and I think this is great for podcasts, and I'll tell you why. It goes back to what I'm talking about with Gen Z. Most people are listening to podcasts via mobile. If all you've got to do is pull out your phone, which you've got with you all the time, scan a QR code from something in a bag from someplace you just shopped, you're in. I love this for getting more people to my podcast. Whenever I'm doing a live speaking event, always have a QR code. Here's how to subscribe to the podcast. People like what I do. They want more. They subscribe. People buy something. They want more. They subscribe. So think about this. It's called a ride along. I've got it listed as the receipt method. You can find it at newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 224. Let me give you another one. This is the review strategy. This fake blogger, she wrote in-depth reviews of eco-friendly products on Amazon. Her Amazon profile included a link to her newsletter that drove traffic directly to her content. You got to be careful about this with Amazon. They don't want you to put an ad in these reviews, but you can do it. They want real people on Amazon. So if you were to say something like David from bigpodcast.com, that's going to be okay. Or I would say something like, I'm a podcaster who has a marketing podcast for podcasters, and blank, blank, blank is absolutely great for this. I'm going to recommend it to all my people, then give the review. It gives your review a little bit of clout. It lets people know they can find you elsewhere if they're interested in what you have to offer. And it gives a good review of the product. And Amazon doesn't mind that because you come in like an authority who really knows what you're doing when it comes to reviewing products. If you think, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for me. For whatever reason, you're too shy. You think they're going to kick you out. You're just nervous about it. Some people just aren't that bold. For example, I know photographers, if they need a location, they'll just show up, take the photographs. They don't care. Others, they don't like getting kicked out. Yeah, it's a risk. So if you're one of those people, let me give you a second option. Include a photo of yourself with the product. Have it in your studio with maybe a backdrop, something that lets people know that you're a podcaster and this is the name of your podcast. In my studio, which I teased at the very beginning of this episode. And the studio, again, it's a 5x8 room, tricked out closet. I got a sound panel, and this is from a podcast that I used to do. It was called Red. That's why this is called the Red Room. And it says Red, the marketing podcast for experts. The podcast you're listening to now, that's why it's the marketing podcast for podcasters. It's just a segment of that. It's more or less the same podcast. Anyway, if I really wanted people to my podcast, I'm going to have that as the backdrop of the photo that I'm taking of me holding up a product that I'm reviewing. Let me give you a third thing that this fake blogger is doing that actually works. The local angle. I talked about speaking and bringing people into my podcast through those QR codes. The easiest way to do that is to do it locally. And this lady, supposed lady, she gave talks at small community gatherings about how sustainable living can save money. Each event, they're saying it brought in 5 to 10 new subscribers to her newsletter. That adds up. Every month, something at the local community center, churches, synagogues, whatever. Maybe it's just a meetup, something that people want to go to. This is how you build a podcast audience. I don't know why so many people think that podcast audiences just happen. They do not. People say, well, Joe Rogan was on TV before he had the Joe Rogan show. Yeah, he was on TV before he had the Joe Rogan show, on a couple shows. But he was also in clubs doing exactly what I'm talking about. Small live events. Sometimes people show up, sometimes people don't. But if you're ready to build an audience, this is how to do it. It starts there. 5 to 10 people at a time. It adds up quickly. You want to see more thoughts that I've written down about this? You want to see the original article that I think is maybe fake? I'd love your opinion on it. It's newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 224. Persuade like a lawyer. How do you tell a good story on your podcast? Let me sum it up for you. Weak content relies on one argument. Stronger content relies on a chain of arguments. The strongest content weaves together a cable of arguments. If you go back into what I've already recorded, you will hear that I do callbacks, to use a comedy line, of things that I have already said. I've mentioned older podcasters a few times. I've mentioned photographs and how important they can be a couple of times. Then I bring them back in. I'm obviously mentioning newsletter.bigpodcast.com probably a dozen times already. And every time I mention that a second, a third, a 12th time, it strengthens what I've talked about before. That is more or less storytelling in a nutshell. However, that's not storytelling. That's the concept that you're going to be using for storytelling. Speaking of comics, by the way, if you want to dive deeper into storytelling, especially getting to the point, study great comics, study songwriters. Maybe it's because I'm in Nashville, but the best ad guys that I know, songwriters. Why is that? Perfect song, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. These days, Gen Z, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Short attention spans. You get in, get attention, get to the point, and get out. You do that in ads. You do that in comedy performances. People don't have all day. If you're printing on paper, you've got limited real estate to work with. Got great examples of this. If you've got a great example of this, reach out to me via Blue Sky. I'd love to see it. Got everything at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 224. Also got an image that explains how to weave in and out of these stories. It's going to clarify a lot for you. It's going to make your podcast better. So check it out. Persuade Like a Lawyer, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue 224. Steal this YouTube trick to get more listeners in 2 minutes. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Okay, right now what I'm getting ready to do is call back to something that I mentioned earlier. This is a real life example of what I was just talking about when I talked about persuading like a lawyer, weaving in and out. Here's the YouTube trick. It's an editing trick. How many times have I already mentioned editing? Well, I told you the story about the girlfriend that I had, and she thought I didn't edit, and she always thought things through, and you got to say things, and you edit. Anyway, this is the trick. This is the trick. Editing. And this guy in this YouTube video, he's making it look like he discovered it. Editing, by God. We know this as podcasters. You know it. We've got to say it all the time. Edit, edit, edit. Good episodes are recorded. Great episodes, edited. He does give some good advice. It's 2 minutes long. It's a quick YouTube video. What? Another callback. Weaving in that story of audio versus video and how they connect. Check it out. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 224. It's a 2-minute video. If you want to make your next episode better, it is worth your time. Low-cost email campaigns and landing pages. How much are you spending on email? A lot of people, I don't know, a lot. I used to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month. And to be fair, it was back in the day. Some of this stuff was a little bit more expensive. I did have about 80,000 people on the list. But regardless, you don't have to spend that much money anymore. Some of the guys in the podcasting space. Yeah, I'm talking to you, old school podcasters. What? Another callback? Yeah. Sorry, I'm throwing off. I'm messing up the story by talking about how I weave in and out of this stuff. That's the last time I'm going to do that. But the point is, sometimes people who've been with a certain software or doing a certain thing, they just don't change and they're not keeping up with how things are changing. Things used to be expensive. Now they're not so much when it comes to email and when it comes to landing pages. There's some great tools. They are very, very inexpensive. And I've got one for you. It is a one-time fee, one time, about $60 that will get you set up and is probably exactly what you need for a quick podcast newsletter. If you're paying a monthly fee, you owe it to yourself to go to newsletter.bigpodcast.com, look at issue 224, and take a look at this option. By the way, as an old school podcaster myself, let me know what you're using. I can't be everywhere at once. I'm always trying to keep an eye on what's working, what's not working. Got my ear to the street, man. So if you got something that's working for you as far as email, you're happy with it, or you got something that's not working, you'll let me know about it. I've got a link to Blue Sky. That's how I'm doing social media now. You on Blue Sky? If you're not, I got a podcasting list there. I'd love to have you on it. You'll find links for both at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 224. You should start a podcast. Or should you? As I've mentioned, I've been in podcasting for a while, 20 years. And during this time, I've been involved with way too many podcasts to count. I've thought about starting even more. Some of them never get off the ground, thankfully. One thing I've learned is that the grass is always greener. If you go to a podcasting event, it's not uncommon to see podcasters actually switch topics. Oh, you're talking about eco-friendly fashion? Oh, I like that. I'd love to start a podcast like that. And then they'll start one. That's how these things work. Oh, you're talking about this? I'd love to talk about that. We get caught up in this grass is greener thing. We see somebody doing something. We say, oh, I could do that better. Or I want to do this. Or I could make money with this. Or maybe just that would be fun. And it might be. Or maybe you should water the grass that you're standing on. If you've got that next big podcast idea, I've talked about bigpodcast.com/amp, the audio monetization program. Bigpodcast.com/amp, that's where you'll find more information. And if you want to see a related joke about this, I've got it. It's visual. I can't tell it to you here. So you're going to have to go to newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 224. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. If you want to make sure that you do not miss an episode, you need to subscribe to this podcast, Build a Big Podcast. Let me give you the easy way to do it. Go to bigpodcast.com. That's it. On the front page, you're going to see how to subscribe. You can do it via iPhone, Android, an RSS feed. Gen Z, you want that audio-only mobile device? I got you, baby. It's at bigpodcast.com. Go there now before you forget, bigpodcast.com. Easy to remember, right? Because what do you want? A big podcast? Yeah, cool. I got you at bigpodcast.com. Go subscribe. One click is all it takes. You like it? Stay on. Don't like it? Stay off. No obligation. We'll stay friends. And again, if you want to work with me personally, you can do that at bigpodcast.com/amp, bigpodcast.com/AMP. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you on the next episode of Build a Big Podcast.